proud of our country. And storytellers sometimes tend to just say that that story belongs to my nation, belongs to my country, to my city. But in fact, stories are specific at the same time universal. Because I believe that stories are just templates of human experiences. So no story belongs to anyone actually. So instead of just being, going to jingoism, if I say the word right, we want to promote coexistence and peace between nations. We want to celebrate the fact that we are different, and we want to celebrate the fact that storytelling brings us together. So we don't want stories because they are very dangerous. We don't want stories to be instruments of us being divided. Yeah, our division. So the chair of the panel discussion is Usman. Usman is from Senegal. We all know him. On my right, I have one of the participants of this panel discussion, Colin, and the one and only, Labasi, and Rika. So thank you so much, and I hope you will enjoy.
Hello everybody. Hope that the lunch was good and everybody doesn't sleep yet. And we will discuss as Jean has possible. So, as Zouhair said it, who is story? And when we say who is story, it means like where the story is coming from. There is one story or there are stories. That's the first. And at the second time, how stories or how telling stories and how learning stories can provide mutual knowledge by different cultures all around the world. We know there is different culture in the world. There is different nation. But how with stories or storytelling we can have a good exchange. We can have a mutual knowledge. And when we say mutual knowledge, what is the issues? For us, the only issues is to provide peace. Because we know that today we have different conflicts in the world because of one fact. People don't know each other. So, what is the role of the storyteller in these topics? And that's what we're going to discuss in this afternoon. And it's open mind. It's open mind means that everybody can participate to this panel. And I say that this panel is open. We're going to start, and I start with the great Babasi to tell us this vision about the topic, and after you can enjoy it. You're welcome.
I'm honored to be here, and I love the kind words you say about me. Keep it on, keep it on.
With Babasi?
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Babasi, and some people say, no, what's your real name? My real name is Babasi, but I do have a secret identity. And the secret identity is on my birth certificate as Lorenzo Augusta Calendar II. But if you call me that, I have to charge you. Wait a minute, you call me Baba C, I have to charge you. Anyhow, so I'm Baba C, and most people know me as Baba C. It is not my stage name, it is not my professional name, it is my name as a griot, and the name for which my community knows me by. So storytelling plays a very special role in my life and in the lives of African Americans. It is through storytelling that we discover our roots. And I pause because a few decades ago, there was a television series called Roots by Alex Haley, I believe it was, and tracing his family lineages through stories that were told. and he traces himself back to the village where his ancestors came from. But storytelling is very important. But first, let me define what a story is. A story is the telling or the narrative of events that may have happened or may not have happened. At the end of the day, when the ladies, I'm not picking on you, but you do it so well. When the ladies get on the phone in the day, go, girl, let me tell you about my day. My boss is trying to work my last nerve. That's a story. When brothers run around, when men run around bragging about their conquest, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those are tall tales. That's a story. So a story is about the telling events. And we have to tell stories. And a lot of times, especially in the case of African Americans, when we're telling stories, we're doing research. And that research takes us back not only to geography and location, that research also takes us back to people and events. That research also takes us back to languages and influences from other languages. One of my favorite characters, his name is Anansi the Spider. All right? And Anansi has an evolution. Anansi becomes Anansi when you go to the American islands. Barbados, Jamaica, and even parts of South America. Anansi becomes Aunt Nancy when you get to southern United States. Now, see, there's a transition right there. Anansi becomes Aunt Nancy because of the similarity in how it's pronounced. So, by studying these stories, I also find out that a lot of Anansi stories are Brother Rabbit stories. But we say Brother Rabbit. Okay, and Brother Rabbit stories, I trace back to parts that I think Ghana, where Anansi and Brother Rabbit are both held as tricksters and vehicles for teaching. Storytelling is something that can teach you about geography, it can teach you about weather, it can teach you about social economics, it can teach you about politics. It can also just be a good time to be had. Now, in my experience as an African American, storytelling also told me that it's a good vehicle for telling people things without telling people things. During the antebellum South, during the time that we had slavery in the United States, you could tell a story, but you told it in such a way that those who didn't know won't know, and those who need to know would know. Ezekiel saw a wheel way in the middle of the air. A wheel within a wheel, way in the middle of the air. The big wheel run by faith, and the little wheel by the grace of God. Ezekiel saw a wheel, way in the middle of the air. That's a song that tells you to follow the drinking goal, the North Star. For those that weren't thinking about the statement, that was just a song for fun. For those who are on the path for freedom, that was a direction. Now, storytelling can be very definitive. It can be very, very possessive. It can be very, very, this is my story. But storytelling has a duality. It is my story, but it's also our story. Because my story bleeds into your story. And I said bleeds into for a reason. For in the life system of humanity, our heart beats. And our heart beats and flows blood. And the blood of knowledge and wisdom is what brings us together. So if I can tell you a story that reminds you of something in your culture, we can discover our similarities. And the more we discover and celebrate our similarities, the less we have to deal with hate and mistrust. Because when it comes down to it, we have more in common. We may express it. Today we ate. Food is a story. How you prepare it is a story. How you write down the recipe is a story. Song, dance, food, getting together and sharing fellowship. Those are all stories. And the more we share each other's stories, the more we see the ties between each other's stories, I think the better we become as a community of human beings. Because we discover that we have, and I keep saying this, we have more in common than we have dissimilar. We all like to eat. We all want to be safe. We all have our good friends and our families, and we all have our histories. Last thing, he who controls the narrative controls the power. So it's important for you to know the depths of your story so that you can, I don't say defend, so that you can honor your stories, and also so that you can share and control the dissemination of your information to others and to receive it as well. Storytelling is one of the most powerful weapons we have in the world, which is why when governments go sour, they try to take away that power. They want to control your news, they want to control what you read, they want to control what you say. Because stories, not bullets, not tanks, not bombs, stories is a very powerful weapon, and it can be used for good, or as I would say, evil. And by the way, for those who speak English and understand English fairly well, anything that adds to the quality of life, L-I-V-E, is good. Anything that takes away from life, E-V-I-L, is not so good. Celebrate your stories. Celebrate your stories and share.
Okay, and now I'm going to Rika. Okay,
Now we are going to Rika. And Rika, people want to know what you want to say us about different stories around the world, or only story in where are you coming from, and where are you coming from, what means story?
I represent here